Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. I get really paranoid.
Yeah.
About stuff like this.
Same.
I hate it. Have you ever had any like podcast disasters?
Yeah, I've had like. It was actually in my studio in Detroit at the time. I was recording me and my housemate, because my old housemate is like a techno producer, and we just didn't hit record on the video. We hit record on the audio, but we didn't hit record on the.
Oh no!
That was like the old school days where I was like recording via Zoom, like just for the camera.
Hey, I've done that before.
Didn't have a clue what to do. So like. It's the thing is when you're like working in like audio all the time, then you like bring a camera and you're like, I don't know how to do this. Like what program do I use to record into the computer? Yeah, it's crazy. What about you?
Yeah, I've definitely had a few disasters of like my voice recording and not the other person's
That's
voice.
annoying. Yeah.
Which, if it was the other way around, you could probably get away with it because you just have to like go over it and re-record it. And the computer crashing if I've done them on Zoom.
That's the best thing about the Rodecaster, because you can record it through your computer through Zoom, but it's just always there, and you've got a hard copy.
Yeah.
I can never trust a computer sometimes.
I know. That's what I said to you. I just always feel really nervous.
Yeah.
So like if anything ever happens, I just like you've lost everything that you've done. But when it was the pandemic, I was doing Elro's Twitch channel. I was hosting their channel. And, you were on it.
I think I was.
We did it.
I think I was. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was like my worst nightmare. So they'd set up this whole live stream thing I had to do. They'd give him, it was just a lot of things that you had to figure out to just do this one call. It wasn't just a Zoom. There was like all of this stuff behind it. I used to get myself so worked up about doing this Twitch. I would go into the studio where I was doing it, like, because I was just me doing it. I couldn't be with anyone. And I used to go in like an hour before, and something would always happen. Like
always. Technology's so shit.
It's so shit.
It's like we pay so much money for all this technology, and it doesn't ever work.
I know.
Always.
It's just always happens like that. Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully this all records properly. We don't have any fuck-ups.
You never know.
How have you been?
Yeah, good. I really like that.
My disco lamp.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you. It's not very bright though. I think it's there more for show.
Did you put that in?
I didn't. That was previously there. Matches my dog Disco.
Yeah.
Who I hope is not going to...
Don't wake him up. He's gonna start barking at me.
Sorry. How long are you down here in London for?
2 days.
Okay.
Shooting sounds wanky, but a bunch of content for some... When's this coming out? Do you know?
I don't know yet. I would say...
Roughly?
Like end of June, beginning of July.
Okay. Yeah, we're shooting some content for some music that's coming out.
Oh, exciting.
But it's like back-to-back days where we like the featuring artists that are in like can only do certain days. So it's like book studio out, book cameraman, do all of that.
Do you really enjoy creating content?
It depends. It purely depends on what content is. Like we were just saying, I'm working with Hype Lab on like social media stuff now. Like this year, I've always done my social media by myself, like, and I've always enjoyed it. But this year, I was just like, not this year, but the last like couple years, I've been really like, this is starting to feel like work, and also I'm like getting a little bit out of the loop of like what's popping off, just because I'm just not consuming, if you know what I mean. And it's like, I feel like to be good, you have to consume.
Yeah.
So yeah, we bought on Hype Lab, and it's really handy having somebody to just like tell you what to do. So it's like I get an email once a week and go, record this, do that, do this, do this. And then I have my PA to post everything, which is like so, like, it's literally been a game changer.
Has it taken like a lot of weight off your shoulders?
I don't know, because it's still part of the job. Like, I'm like fully accepting that social media is 50% of our work nowadays. Or like equal splits, 33, like social media, creating music and DJing. Like I do a lot more, but like that in this music world, that's what it is. Which I think everyone complains about it because everyone's just old as fuck and boring. And like, it's like such a classic thing to go, oh, I've made a bunch of music and then just expect it to do really well if you're not promoting it. Like no business does that.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're an athlete, right? Like, there's no other business that just does well. You have to promote everything.
You have to. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing is like, I understand why artists like struggle with social media because it's not what you're made to do, right? But like, learn about it. Make it fun. Find something that you enjoy doing. And I think that's how social media does well for individuals is that they do something that they love. They're not doing stuff to like jump on trends.
100%. And I think in your case, for example, the content that you create, obviously you've got your podcast, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Having a little scratch? You've got your podcast. You did a few years back, your Deconstructed series on YouTube. Will Makes You Hungry page. And I'm guessing from what I've seen, they're all things that you really love and enjoy doing. Yeah,
I think that's the thing is like, we do our jobs because we love what we do. Like, we're very fortunate that we can do this work in the music industry, but like, the reason why I do it is because I can't do fucking anything else. I'd be screwed if I had to do something else, right? So it's like, okay, I've got to make this work somehow, and you got to turn it into a business. So what is the business based on now? Sadly, record labels aren't what record labels used to be, and an artist's career purely revolves around music and social media.
How much of the content that you create do you think has contributed to people discovering you as an artist?
I don't know. I think there's like multiple aspects of it. It's a good question because this may sound weird, but the fact that I have a beard and I'm like reasonably recognizable, like I'm not just a bald white dude, if you know what I mean. I'm a bald white dude with a beard. And I think the like image of me is like my face is pretty much on everything I do. I think that has helped me massively. Like to the extent where like I'll be with other DJs that are way bigger than me and we'd be like walking through a crowd and people would recognize me over them. Really? And I think it's just purely because it's like brand. It's like, it's so key. And I think a lot of people forget about that. It sounds wanky as fuck with like brand this, brand that, but it's so true. And it's like, how can people recognize who you are?
I guess it's like Kolsch with his hat.
Exactly. And it's Deadmau5 with a fucking that thing. And it's like, I feel like everyone has to have something, sadly, but it's also business. And I think that's what people forget is like, we're in the music business.
Have you always had, no, I was going to say, have you always had the beard since you started music? You started when you were like 12, so I'm going to guess not.
I had a shitty pedo moustache. No, I grew it. I actually grew it for charity.
Oh.
Yeah, my parents own a charity, and I was going to grow it for that. And I did. And I was like, gave myself a year to grow it, and I was going to raise money and shave it off for charity. But then my career kind of happened during that time. Yeah. About 11 years, I think, maybe.
So just talking and going to the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that you started DJing at 12 years old?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That's so young.
Yeah, I did this course called the DJ Academy. Take a wild guess what that was about.
I was just going to say that Pete Tong's called Pete Tong DJ Academy.
Yeah. So it was actually cool. It was 2002. It was actually probably 2003 because I was 12 but then turned 13. I And it was like a touring DJ academy that you'd sign up for like 10 weeks. And I was in this music shop with my parents, and my mum saw the poster on the wall, and it's like, DJ Academy, learn to DJ. At this time, I was doing like discos. I was like a disco DJ. So I was like doing weddings and birthday parties and stuff like that. And then, yeah, mum saw this poster and was like, learn to be a DJ. I was like, fuck it. Like, and I think mum and dad got it for me for my birthday or Christmas or something. And yeah, every Monday night, my dad would take me to Bristol. And at that time, he was like learning to be a therapist, I think. My mum's a therapist. So he was learning to, I think he was learning to be a therapist. So he was like doing all of his college work in the car whilst I was in this like DJ academy. And it was like a course of like, 10 weeks. Multiple tiers, so like people that could DJ and just wanted to like get better, and then there's like mid-tier and then beginners. And like I was at beginners, and of course it was back then there was no CD players, like it was no CDJs, it was all vinyl. So yeah, I just didn't have a clue what I was doing. But they taught you, and then at the end of it, but they taught you everything. They taught you the business as well. So they taught you like how to promote yourself, how to record like a mixed tape, how to like make like a cover for like promoters to like look at you and things like that. It was really cool.
Was there anybody on that course that you know today?
No. I don't know anybody that actually from that whole era that like became a full-time DJ after. But
so you said this is in Bristol.
Yeah, so they would tour it around. Okay. So they'd like do like Monday night in Bristol, like Tuesday night in Cardiff, like Birmingham. Like it was like a big school for like years until like the internet came along really and kind of took over. YouTube taught everyone. But yeah, at the end of the 10 weeks, we all started a night, and you'd play. And yeah, my first show was when I was 13. And the like bouncer kicked me out. Didn't know I was like we'd all signed it off with the management, but yeah, he like kicked me out and was like, "You're too young." I was like, "No shit."
13 years old. But even before that, if you were playing weddings, in school discos and whatever, how did you know how to DJ for that?
So I started with that when I was 9. Stupid, right?
That's ridiculous.
So we have like there used to be this local caravan site called Broadway Lodge, and my dad used to play rugby, and one of his rugby mates was like the local disco DJ, and he was like the resident at this caravan park. And I just asked him if I was like, can I come and help you out during the summer, because it would be like they do bingo and all this shit, and it was just like just like rock up with my CDs, and it was like not mixing, it was just like thingy in, and then I bought some CD players. Like they were kind of like CDJs, and they did actually have pitch, but I didn't know what a DJ did. Yeah. If you know what I mean, like in a sense of I didn't know what you do mix wise. It was pretty cool. And
then you have your first gig at 13.
Yeah.
That you get kicked out of.
Yeah. My school teacher came to that.
That's so cute.
Yeah. I saw her. I did a talk in the school the other day, and I saw her there. And like I bump into her into the local village, and it's cool to like be able to like see that. But it's mad. She must have been like 23 at the time. And then you're like, we know 23-year-olds that go out raving. And then you're like, wait, how are they allowed to teach kids?
Well, how are you a teacher?
They're like literally getting on it all weekend and then rocking up Monday morning. I'm like, you're definitely hungover. But you don't think about it when you're like 12.
No, but now you look back and you're like, I know what you were doing before our maths class on a Monday morning.
Rolling out of someone's bed in the morning.
That's so fun though. I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
13 years old and you were doing that. And obviously your parents must have been super supportive of that from a young age if they were the ones that took you to
really supportive. Like they're the best. Like I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for them. They let me move to Ibiza when I was 17.
Oh really?
But they're like, I'm super close with them, like really close with them. And like even my manager now was like, what were your parents thinking? And I was like, I don't actually know. Like I genuinely don't know. But they saw something and kind of just I I've never been like a partier or anything. I've always been like pretty sensible. So like I think they knew that I'd be like all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, 17 years old.
Yeah, 17 years old in Ibiza. Was that the first time that you'd moved out of your parents?
Yeah. I went to Ibiza when I was 16. Played for Sam Divine.
Okay.
That was because I used to buy records from Sam.
I was going to ask you about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam's, although her accent has changed, that I give her shit about. Sam, you're not from Essex. She used to have a Somerset accent. Sound like a farmer. But there was a record shop in Weston-super-Mare, which is like the local town, not kind of near me, like 20 minutes away.
Okay.
And there was a record shop called Spin Central. And like Somerset, local, like Southwest is like, they love hard style and like jungle and like drum and bass. Obviously Bristol is like drum and bass place. And I used to buy records from there. And then one day I rocked up and this chick was in there with like braided hair, like down to her ass. And I was like, who's this? And they're like, oh, this is our new house girl. And I'm like, finally, somebody that like likes house music. So like we kind of built up quite a good relationship then. And like she'd always just like keep records behind the counter for me. And I'd go in and just be like, yeah, I want that, I'll take that. Keep the like white labels behind. And then I played for one of her parties in Weston when I was like 15. And then at 16, she asked me to go and play Hush, which is when she got a residency out there.
And that's how it started.
And that was the good old days in Hush. I don't know if you can remember them.
I can't remember Hush.
Hush was fucking amazing. It was like the workers' bar on the West End, but it was like the only place on the West End that wasn't shit. If you know what I mean. Like you couldn't buy a pint of vodka Red Bull. It was really good, and like it was the only place that was allowed to stay open till 6 o'clock in the morning. So the workers would finish working and then all go there, and it was just like shit show. Absolute shit show. Yeah.
Those days I just don't think exist in Ibiza anymore. Well, they do.
No, they don't. They generally don't. The West End is not the West End. And the West End's a shithole. But like there was something about British culture that was so embedded in San Antonio. And like I know it's so easy for everyone to like turn their nose up at it and everything like that, but like it was the start of some people's careers. Yeah. Like you look at most people, like Hannah Lang, she started in the Highlander. Ben Hemsley started there. My first residency was at Orange Corner, and then I moved to Kenya. So like San Antonio is like in British DJs, it's like Fergie. Fergie used to DJ at Orange Corner with me. Like,
I love Fergie.
He's the best, man.
He's
love
the
best,
him.
Yeah.
You had him on your podcast, didn't you?
Talks the hind legs off a donkey. His stories are great.
I saw him in Vegas last year.
Yeah.
And I did an interview with him. It was only supposed to be a 10-minute interview. I think it ended up being like an hour and 10 minutes. And we were just drinking cocktails, and he was telling me all these stories.
He's the best. His stories are just like, he's the story man.
He is a story man.
Yeah. And I think because he used to like get on it, like his stories are. I can imagine like Seth Troxler being the same.
Yeah.
I've never like had a proper I've only met Seth a couple of times, like in a DJ booth, but I can imagine his stories are pretty extensive.
He's a good storyteller.
Is he?
Yeah. Every time I think of Seth and videos, I always think of that Bats video.
In his shorts.
How good is that?
Talking of social media and like branding, he's done it well.
Yeah, he has.
Like, he's just zero fucks given.
The billboards in Ibiza.
So good.
They're just amazing.
Yeah.
Some people are like, what the fuck is this? But it's genius.
Yeah. It's like, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And like, unless he's, yeah, no, it's all him. It's got to be, doesn't it?
No, he is. He is him.
Yeah.
He's great.
And I just love the like zero, like he's a very serious DJ in a sense of like, he's a selector, if you know what I mean. And he's a great DJ, but like doesn't take himself too seriously. Yeah. Which I think is needed in this industry.
I totally agree with you. Do you know what I love on your social media?
What's that?
I love when you're announcing your new Spotify playlists.
I haven't done that for a while.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Do people like send you places to go, or this is just
no? This is just me.
Like, I'm like, how would you have ever thought of that? It's just so good.
It's like, I literally am like, when I was doing them regularly, because I did it since COVID. I did it since 2020 up until now, like every week. Every Monday. Yeah, every single Monday. And they kind of fell off a little bit. So I stopped doing them as regularly.
Fell off in what sense?
I don't know. It was just like, I was dragging it out. I was like, it was like, fucking hell, Will. You're like pulling them out of somewhere, and it just got a bit, it felt like it was getting hard work. So I'll only do one now if I'm like, oh, this is a banger.
This is a good one.
Yeah. But I just like, just walk around and like see something. I'm like, yeah, like look at the size of that carrot. It's fucking massive. Like I have to do something with this.
But I love that, because most other people will just walk past it and just not think about it, but because it's in your mind.
All my friends hate me.
I bet they do.
Because I'm like, just like every time I'm like, we'll be in a shop or something and they just turn around and I'm like holding this massive onion or something like that, or like just something stupid. And they're like, Monday post? I was like, yeah.
I love that. That's great. Going back to Ibiza. So you did 4 years. I
think so. I can't fully remember.
And then you also lived in the US.
Yeah, I still pretty much, I don't at this moment in time, but yeah.
Okay.
So I've been living in the US the last 9 years on and off, maybe 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Whereabouts?
So my first time, it's 2024, right? Yeah, so 2015, I think I first moved. I first moved to LA. What I would do is I was fortunate enough to get a really good agent in America when I was like 24. And then the way agents work in America is very different to European agents. Like they take somebody on like early and like help build you up, like how most businesses work. Unlike agents here. Sorry, agents. And it's just like, so yeah, they took me on and like started touring me quite a lot, but I'd be like, do like a 4-month tour. And I'd go and be like, okay, I want to go live here. So of course, LA was the first place I moved. Wasn't a huge fan. Didn't really know many people there. Like it was quite, not lonely, but it was just like not my vibe.
Yeah.
And then came back here and then had another 4-month tour. Did that in New York.
Okay.
Like it's the best place in the world.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where my touring in America was so crazy. Like I was doing like 80 shows a year just in America.
Wow.
Yeah, it was mad.
So you were gigging more there than you were?
I only gig in America mostly. Like I play other places, but like 95% of my shows are in America.
And that all stems from when you were over there at the beginning?
It stems from initially. Just have fucking great agents that work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean that in a horrible way, but like my agents are just like agents. The way this industry is, sadly, is like, especially nowadays, it's like, it's such a business now. Like headline culture is such a big thing. So it's like, unless you can move serious tickets and like prove that you can move serious tickets, there's not many people that want to even touch you. Yeah. So it's like, I've had multiple agents here, but it's also like just the scene is just very different to America. Like there's so many cities in America, right? It's like a small city in America is like 1 million people. Like you can't even do that here. Like how many major cities have major clubs here now? Like
in the UK?
Yeah. 5?
That's it.
Yeah. So it's like, I understand why the market is how it is here, but I think there's also that issue of like nearly every club here now is massive. So it's like you have to sell tickets for you to even like Drumshed. Yeah. Like 15,000 people. It's not a club. It's a festival.
That's a festival.
Yeah, and the culture's like changing to more like what we were talking about earlier with like Ibiza and like headline culture. It's like, it's not necessarily about curating nights of like really good music that like works really well. It's purely about how many tickets can we sell and like build it as much as possible. Whereas like in America you have, and lots of other places, you have smaller clubs. So you have like those 500 cap venues. But here, a lot of them are dying. A lot of them are gone.
Do you think it will get to a point where this will just kind of blow up and it will start going back to how it was? Or
I hope it doesn't. And I don't mean that in a horrible way, because I think it's so easy and so like, for like, especially the people like us that knew it before, like, I think there's a world where both can work. Mm-hmm. But I think it needs two things. It needs community to work together. And I think, like, let's say for instance, like I could play 300-400 cap venue here and we'd be doing fine. But like my DJ fees are high, right? So it's like, can that club afford me?
Yeah.
So it's also down to like DJs to be like, hang on a minute, no, like bring your fees down, like work with people. Yeah. Like I honestly, like my last agent here with my manager, I sat down with them and was like, I will literally play for free. Like just put me in clubs. Like I know that after I get put in clubs, we can sell some tickets and we can grow from there. Like I don't need to earn money here, if that makes sense, because my manager's going to hate me for saying that on this podcast. But it's like, I literally will. Like if someone's like, Will, I'll give you 500 quid and headline this small venue, like I will 100% do it. Because it's like, England's easy to travel. Like I can just get in my car, I can drive, I can get a hotel. Like it doesn't matter. It's like, we need to, for me, I really want to build a community in the UK. And the only way of doing that is by working it. But if you don't have the opportunity to work it, then you're never going to build unless you have a hit record. And then like, you can't, like, no, I've had big records, but no one knows if you're going to have a hit record or not. You can't run your career off having a hit record. Yeah. So it's like, that's my view on it. And I'm happy to be wrong. But I think like my experience within America is like the agents have really good relationships with the promoters. A lot of promoters, like they might do multiple clubs, multiple venues in cities. They might do a festival. So it's like you like graduate throughout the tier of what they do. So it's like, okay, we'll put you in the 200 cap venue. Oh, then we'll put you in the 500 cap venue. Oh, then we'll put you in the 1,000 cap venue. Oh, then you can festival. Yeah. And that's how you grow. And it just doesn't really happen here.
Have you tried this strategy then that you were just talking about of putting your fee down? And
I hope happily. I told my agent when I had an agent here before we went our separate ways. Okay. I was like, literally, go get me gigs.
Yeah.
I will play for nothing. I like happily. If somebody was like, Will, we're going to do like a 10 show date here, like, and yeah, you're earning practically nothing. You're losing money. It's fine.
It's just sometimes these are the things you've just got to do.
It's just business.
Yeah.
Like, it's so simple. It's like, I know I have a very small fan base here, but I know that if you put me in front of people, I will be able to win them over. And also it's relationships. It's like, like I played at E1 whenever it was, last year or earlier on in the year. And like, it's like just being with the club people. It's like being with the owners, being with the promoters. It's like building a relationship up with them. But like, if you're not being put in, if you can't put yourself in those situations, if it's almost like there's like a gatekeeper-ish, which is classic music industry, classic any industry, right? Yeah. And you got to somehow break through it. But hey, like I did a podcast with Cascade, who like is one of the biggest DJs in the world, and he still can't tour here.
In the UK? In
Europe.
In the whole of Europe?
Pretty much, apart from like Netherlands.
For the same reason?
Yeah, it's just like, and the agents, like, you also have to create demand, right? Mm-hmm. Look at Hannah Lang, right? She's great. She's created a huge demand because she's got a huge, like, loyal fan base, right? that takes time to build, and there has to be something for people to hold on to. But like, that still started from nothing, and you have to have the ability to do that. So it's hard. It's really hard, and there's not many artists that can do worldwide. Not many.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, there aren't many at all.
Jamie Jones,
Carl
Cox. There are some. Nicole Mudabar.
Yeah, but
Peggy Goo.
It's a really good point what you've said, and it's a really good way to look at it. And I totally agree with you. I think for things to change, then there has to be some kind of
give and take.
Give and take.
It's just like a relationship, right?
Yeah,
compromise.
Absolutely.
It's like anything. Like, not everything can be perfect, but you've also got to be willing to work for it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just gonna check the camera.
You're so nervous.
I can't stop thinking about it. It's fine. It's fine.
They're well good, the new phones. I need to get one.
The new iPhone.
Yeah.
It's so good. I purposely, when I set up the phone, it said, do you want to connect to your iCloud? And I had like 36,000 pictures on my other phone. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start from scratch and I'm not going to have any pictures on this new phone. And then I don't know what I pressed and all of a sudden it
just came down.
And I was just like, oh, God's sake. The amount of times I think during a week that I'm going to go through all my pictures and start deleting stuff, I just can't get myself to do it.
But it's still on the cloud though.
It's still on the cloud, but it's just stuff that I just know that it's just
never going to use. It's so weird, isn't it, nowadays? Like how we have so like don't be offended by me saying this, okay? But like, I'm in your house. There's there's great art, but there's no like photos of people around, right? And it's like we have so many like amazing moments on our phones, but like no one has photos up. No one.
That is so true. I've never even really thought about that. Unless you go to like grandma's house.
Yeah, like when, but like 36. Like when was the last time you actually looked through those photos?
That's what I mean. I'd never.
No.
Unless I'm looking for something very specific, then I'll go and find it. But I will.
And you can search that now, which is great. It's so good.
That is the weirdest thing ever. That you can like just put in fruit and everything fruit related will come up on your iPhone.
Type in mum. Comes up as mum.
It comes up.
Yeah, so
it's
good.
It's so clever. It's kind of scary.
It is. Technology is amazing though now.
It is.
One of my mates has like a tech company, and he was telling me about some AI shit, and he sent me this like, it's like a cool person that's AI, and it was the like example is like of this dental like practice, and this dental practice calls someone that's AI. The dental practice is AI, and it calls him and was like, hey Natalie, I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to move your appointment. Like, when is the best time for you? Let me know. And Natalie's like, hey, no worries. And like, I'm available tomorrow at 10 a.m. And the AI's like, perfect, we booked you in 10 a.m. See you tomorrow. Is there anything else I can help with? And it literally, like, the AI sounded more real than the human.
That's crazy.
And you're like, oh shit, this is about to be amazing. Like, we're about to see some crazy shit.
I saw a couple of weeks ago an AI model on Instagram.
They're so hot.
They're so hot. They're perfect.
I'm like, oh my God, I would pay good money to date that person.
I think anybody would, to be honest.
I know.
They're perfection.
It's scary though, right?
And they're absolutely minted with money because they get paid by all of
so
these
much
massive
money.
brands.
Yeah.
They don't even exist.
The scary thing is, it's probably some white dude in Russia making them. Wanking his life away.
Oh, stop. I got an Instagram message through yesterday. Somebody saying, hi, I was just wondering if you wanted a sugar daddy.
Oh my God.
There's some weird people out
I
there.
wish I was a girl sometimes. I'd make so much money.
There must be people out there that have some like sort kind of beard fetish or something like that.
I get weird DMs. From dudes. It's always from dudes.
Saying what?
Can I have your socks after you've DJ'd? I get that regularly from this one dude. He asked to buy my socks.
Your
unwashed socks.
Unwashed, worn, sweaty socks.
So I'm a bit of a weirdo, and I wear toe shoes when I train.
Right.
So they're like literally just like each individual toe, and he's like, he loves them. So all over that shit.
Has he never asked you for a foot picture?
No.
You could be like, there could be another source of income here.
Well, I was like, you can't afford them. Like, I'd sell them, but you can't afford them. So
I can't believe that.
Yeah. I think it's the guy's mentality. Like, when I say, like, I wish I was a female sometimes, it's like the guy's mentality in a female body, brain, looks, if you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, I'd be savage.
What would you do if he, like, turned up to one of your gigs and then just, like, cornered you after, and he's like, Will, take your socks off?
That would be so weird. It'd be so weird.
And everyone's just like, Will, do you know this guy?
Yeah, I'm like, who the
well,
fuck?
we've spoken a few times.
Don't check my DMs. Fucking auctioning my socks off.
That could be it, auctioning your socks off. Let's talk about your podcast.
Okay, let's do it.
How much do you love podcasting?
I really enjoy it. I have this, like, really weird, which I'm sure you do, and I don't know, but, like, the thought of it now seems like a chore. But during the conversation, it's, like, amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I feel it's a chore is because it's done online at this moment in time. It's like you're building relationships with people, but it's the, like, process of setting everything up is quite hard work.
Yeah.
However, I, like, love the conversations. I've met a lot of friends from it. I've, like, built relationships that have, like, that will last forever. And I think people like it. I hope they do. It's
great.
Thanks.
I love it. How was your conversation with Moby?
Pretty crazy.
That was actually insane.
He had no fucking idea who I was. That's the best thing. He still doesn't know who I am.
Having Moby on your fucking podcast is huge.
We've had some crazy guests. Like, genuinely crazy guests. Talking of guests, last time I saw you was in Miami, and you were about to ask Kerry Chandler how much porn he watches.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
How did that go down?
82. Fuck's sake. So, a little bit of context here, babe. Basically, I was doing this thing, and it was every artist had to give a question, pass a question to the next artist.
Yeah.
So, Sydney Charles asked Hot Since 82, would he allow his son to be a DJ? And Daly said, absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That was his reply.
Oh.
Don't know what the context is behind that, but yeah. And then I said, okay, what's your question? And he was like, I want to know. He doesn't know this is Kerry Chandler, by the way. I would like to know, how many hours of porn do you watch a week, and tell the truth? And I was like, how the fuck am I going to ask Kerry Chandler how many hours of porn he's watched?
Did he answer?
Luckily, Kerry Chandler didn't turn up. And I had to ask Alex Kennan instead.
I don't know who Alex is.
Alex Kennan is...
Should I? Sorry, Alex Kennan, if you watch this.
He releases on Knee Deep in Sound.
Oh, yes, I do know.
Long hair, Italian.
Yeah.
Plays at Ibiza a lot. So anyway, and the answer was 0 to 3.
3 hours?
Minutes.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, he's got some stamina. Going back to podcasts, it's great. It's great.
Well, let's go back to the conversation. Yeah, that was a funny time.
How do you find it?
I totally agree with what you've just said.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I'm like, it's a bit, and I've gone through, right now I'm on a podcasting break whilst I record to get the next season out, which I need to have, because it is hard work. Like, one podcast for me, and obviously, like, I haven't worked in audio before. I'm not a producer. So all of this was so new to me as well. Yeah. So it takes me, now I'm getting much better. It takes me a while to edit them. And then obviously now there's the video version.
Yeah.
Then there's the clips. Then there's the reels. Then you have to write the description. Then you have to think of the title. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to think about. It takes me like 6 hours for one episode.
Yeah. I hear you. I think the way I did the podcast was like, the goal is to not edit.
Yeah.
So like, I know yours are quite edited, where mine, I don't edit the conversation at all. It just goes on.
I'll only edit it
if somebody wants it.
If somebody wants it.
Yeah.
Like now the conversation's flown and I know there's not really going to be anything to edit.
What's the best thing somebody's asked you to edit out?
Oh no, I have somebody once just asked me to take out all of the just like and I was like, you literally say after every sentence, but they were like, no, I really want it out. I'm not even going to say who it is, but I was so annoyed.
Who was it?
I'm not gonna say.
Who was it? Come on.
Begins with F.
F. What does it end in?
A D. It's actually an industry person.
I
It's
don't
not.
know.
But anyway, apart from that, what else have I asked? I can't remember.
Mine's age.
Somebody's age.
Everyone, that's the only thing I get asked to edit out is people's age.
How old are you?
33. Can you edit that out?
Yep.
No.
Beep. I'm going to put
33.
beep over that.
34 next month.
When's your birthday?
6th of June.
6th of June.
6-6, baby.
6-6.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
I'm 3rd of August.
How old?
Saying that on my podcast.
Beep.
I'm 31.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good age.
It is a good age. Do you know, I feel like age has hit me this year.
Really?
Yeah. As soon as I turned 30, I just felt older.
Is that mentally, though?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think things change when you're 30. Like, for me, like, mentally things change of, like, goals in life, like...
Yeah.
Aspects of, like... Yeah, why are we doing this? Like, all of those things. Learned a lot, like, turning 30. But it wasn't like, wake up and I'm 30. I'm like, oh, shit, like, everything's changed. But it's definitely, like, changed my, like, view on life.
Yeah. When it was my 30th birthday, I was like... Because normally every birthday is obviously in August and I'm in Ibiza. So it'd always be, like, crazy night out. And for my 30th, I was like, I'm going to do something so different. I'm going to go for a really relaxed dinner with my friends and have a spa day.
Yeah,
and
you're old then.
We did the total opposite. And I was so annoyed with myself because I literally wanted to start my 30s like really fresh. Really like, this is my new life now as a 30-year-old. And it just never happened.
Yeah. And then you moved back to London.
And then I moved back to London. Yeah, which I'm really happy about.
It's fucking cool.
London's great.
It's a cool city. I don't know if I could live here. I could, obviously. Oh, yeah, we didn't even finish where I lived.
Yeah, so we really go like bouncing through topics.
Sorry, people.
Sorry.
Yeah,
we'll and then where do you live?
Moved in. So I was touring so much more. This was like 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017, and I was like, I need to live full time in America. I need like a more like full time space where I can go back and forth. So I moved to Detroit. And was renting a few places. Like, cut a very long story short, I was like, why am I renting in Detroit when it's cheap? Like, it's so affordable, which is one of the reasons why I moved there. So yeah, I bought a place in the hood in Detroit, and I just sold it in October, just gone.
Oh,
so 5 years.
Are you sad about that? Happy?
I'm eventually probably going to move back there, maybe. Like, not, but just in a different area. But it served a purpose at that time in my life and at that time in my career, whereas, like, it allowed me to invest back into my business because it was so affordable. But also, I wasn't paying rent every month. It was, like, invested. I was, like, had a mortgage. And, like, it was, like, more of an investment at the time. I rented a room out to a couple that, like, he was a DJ producer. He actually edits my podcast.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
now a guy called Ryan, or Oon, his artist name is. he does all the video and stuff for my podcast, which is great. But yeah, it was just like very. I truly think that at some point in your career, you have to like have that like really hustle period where like everything you earn has to go back into your business, and Detroit allowed me to do that because it's very affordable. And culturally, it's like the history of music is amazing. It's rough. It's fucking dangerous there. It's like it's the most dangerous city in America.
Do you feel unsafe when you're there?
No. When I moved there, there was times.
Like scary times?
Yeah. It's like the first year I bought my house, my next door neighbor's house got shot up. Oh, fuck. Like, you hear gunshots a lot. Like, downtown, you don't. It's way nicer now, but, like, way, way nicer. They've spent so much money. It's an amazing city. But, like, sadly, America, there's a lot of poverty in America. So there are very dangerous places there. Yeah. But it also adds character. Like, the community is so special there, which you don't really get when it's a very affluent area, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, you go to Chelsea in London, like, there's not a community there. It's just wealth, if you know what I mean, right?
I totally agree with you.
Whereas, like, you go to, like, places that more poor, less fortunate, like there was a barber on the corner of, like, my street. And, like, in the summer, every Friday, barbecues be coming out. Everyone be over there at the barber shop. It's, like, very, like, community vibes, which is really important for me. Like, I love having a community around.
I feel like you were very... I know this is, like, two different things, but... you really have created your community as well, especially like on social media and the fan base that you have and getting people involved.
Yeah, I try. I think it's like the whole point of this scene, right? Yeah. It's the whole point for me anyway. Like I remember when I first started, it was like a crew of us and it like everyone was just doing their own thing, but we'd all come together and just like be together. And I've tried to do that throughout, and like my initial signing in America was like with Dirty Bird, and that was a big community of people. Yeah. And I've always like, there were some great things that happened with that, but also some like Dirty Bird kind of did some weird stuff over the years and like is now no longer pretty much. But I think seeing what a community can do as well, and like just, it's a very alone business. Like we literally spend our life in hotels and airports. Like there's literally, I know it looks amazing, but it's only like the real big guys that have team follow that are like with them all the time, because they're the only ones that can afford to travel people around with them. But like when even like having a tour manager is expensive. You're paying 2 flights. You're paying day rates. Like it's expensive. So like it's a very lonely job, which I love, but being able to like have a bit more of a fan base, there's more of a community, having other DJs around you, like it's important.
Do you think as well that if you tour without a tour manager, you're more likely to like meet other people, go out for dinner with other people? Because otherwise you kind of would just stick with your tour manager. And
totally. I did like the first few tours I did in the States was like, I used to do like, it may sound a bit weird, but I used to like do like competitions to take people out for dinner.
That's so cute.
Yeah, so I would like pretty much every city
and then the tow man turns up.
He's my best friend.
I've been waiting for this day for so long.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like I feel like a lot of that's been lost a bit now, and I kind of wish it was just like, we're so accessible but also not. Yeah. And I think a lot of us act like we're accessible, but then we're not. So I'm like, we all shit out the same hole. It's like we're all human beings. It's just like most people are cool. Like most people are pretty sound, and you can have like a good friend. Like some of the people that I went out for burgers, I'm still friends with like 10 years later.
Really?
Yeah, and like I think that's, I think it's helped my career and life.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have. It's nice to go to every city and like have somebody I know.
Who was I talking to the other day? That I think it was Francis Mercier.
Yeah, he's great.
He's
killing right now.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
He also like organises football matches.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah.
Like with every city that he goes to.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've kind of like stopped doing stuff like that, and I want to start. It's hard with schedules as well, but Francis, that's a funny story about Francis actually. He came on my podcast, and he was the one podcast I fucked up. Like, complete my fault. Like, I didn't look at my calendar the night before, and I didn't know I had a podcast recording. So I was in Detroit, and I wasn't too aware of what he was doing at the time. This was a couple of years ago. So, like, I didn't really know much of his music.
Okay.
Or, like, much about his career. And I was, like, doing stretches on the gym floor and, like, got a text going, dude, I'm in the waiting room. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I was like, mate, I am so sorry. Like, I need to, like, give me, like, half an hour. So I, like, drove home really quickly and I was still in my gym shorts when I was doing the podcast, like, just put a hoodie over and, like, just fucked that podcast up so bad.
Did you tell him?
He knew I was at the gym. He knew I fucked up, but...
But you obviously didn't have it, like, prepared as much as you probably wanted to.
I don't really prepare much, but he was, like, the first person that I didn't really know much about.
Yeah.
So if I don't know much about somebody, I do a bit of prep.
Yeah.
And it, like, my manager was like, you didn't do any prep. Like, he listened to it, and he was like, I could tell, dude. And maybe my manager knew because he knows me.
Yeah,
but, yeah, I do need to redo that one.
It happens. It can also happen where, like, you have prepped for it, but then when you actually sit down with the person, you don't fully connect with them.
Yeah.
And then it's like just an awkward
That's really hard, right?
Yeah, that's really difficult.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's when people just don't give back.
Yeah.
It's like I had this promoter. I'm actually playing for him this weekend. And he's a lovely guy, like, genuinely really nice guy. But it took like an hour and 10 minutes for him to, like, start giving conversation back. Yeah. And then I was like, the podcast is over. So, like, it got to the end and he was like, then he started, like, asking questions and, like, having a bit more of a conversation.
Yeah. That's a really hard one. I just sometimes have, like, really random questions in the back of my head just to, like, at least I know what's
going on. Yeah. It's,
you know?
I guess a lot of people don't have long form conversation.
Yeah.
I need to piss so bad. Can I?
You can go for a piss break. Yeah. I was just about to say to you, don't lock the door because somebody once got locked in there. And I was just thinking, you imagine in this podcast, you get locked in my bathroom.
Just
Have the mic.
Yeah.
Next.
Why did you start the podcast?
I started the podcast because I started in 2019, and from at that point, all my career was just interviewing DJs.
Yeah.
And I just got to a point where I was like, I need to interview people like that are not DJs as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have the space or the outlet to do it. So I wanted to learn more about what people did in the music industry, how things worked.
Yeah.
Because my work in music had always just been very much Ibiza related and interviewing DJs backstage at clubs. Yeah. So yeah. And also I just thought it was a really great way to network and to meet new people. And I just love meeting new people, and I love, like, finding out about how people started out with what they're doing and just tell stories and stuff. No,
it's so good. I think conversation is so important.
So important.
That we don't have in this industry. Like, just generally in life, I say this all the time, but it's like, who has an hour, 2 hour long conversation without a mobile phone, without anybody, like, coming in, like, no distractions? It's important.
It is. If you could have a dream guest, who is your dream guest?
Maxi Jazz, but he's passed away. that would be like, that would have been the like dream. Like he's the reason why I do this. Like watching Faithless. I think my dad took me to see Faithless when I was like 11, and it was like, yeah, I have to do this.
Which has been your favourite podcast so far?
That's hard. That's a hard one. MK was really good. It's generally the ones that I'm like pretty close with, like outside of, because there's like a relationship.
Yeah.
Moby was really special.
Yeah.
Carl Cox.
I loved in the Moby one where he was like making soup halfway through.
Mental, right?
Was that, because I just listened to that, was that on video as well? So was he showing you the soup?
Yeah, I think he did. It's just like some vegan vegetable soup or whatever. He's such a vegan.
He's such a vegan.
Yeah, he's on
Doesn't he have
level.
a tattoo that says
animal rights?
Animal.
And then vegan something on his neck. Like, he's in.
Wow.
There's no going back for him.
It's literally written all over your body.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Yeah.
I was talking to my manager the other day and I was like, I want to get my knuckles tattooed, but like, what if I get a real job one day? What if I need to get a real job one day? And he's like, yeah, literally get a real job on your top. But I was like, he was like, dude, you're never getting a real job. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're in this. Like, I was like, okay, maybe.
You said it before. You were like, I wouldn't know what else to do.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Like, I like the idea of having a business outside of music.
Like what?
Like, I'm starting a few at the moment.
Okay.
Like, I'm in the process of like building like a fragrance company with friends.
Wow. I love
which would be
that.
cool. I don't know. I'd really want to do like a fashion brand. But like, I've done so much like research in that, and I'm like, I know how much money it takes.
Yes.
So for me, that would be like a passion project after I've made millions. After I've had that hit record and I got an agent in the UK. Yeah. What about you? What would you do if you didn't talk to fucking DJs?
God, I don't know. I don't know. So I worry myself about it sometimes because I'm like, especially when it's presenting on camera, it's not one of them jobs that you're going to have forever. Because like,
I don't
I'll
know.
get old and they're going to be like, well, they'll get us some like hot young presenter in and then I'll just like won't have a job.
No, but you're not like, you're not just like doing this because of your looks,
I know,
right?
I know, but
that always helps.
But like, especially with stuff like that, TV stuff, then I guess maybe.
TV stuff, yeah.
I love working. I love doing radio. I love presenting on the radio. I love live radio. That's like my favourite thing.
No one has to see your face then.
Nobody has to see your face.
Lucky fuckers.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky you. And I just love the adrenaline of live stuff. But again, that does not answer the question. What would I do? I don't know. Maybe be a yoga teacher.
Do you do yoga?
Yeah, I love yoga.
Okay. I'm so bad at yoga.
Are you? What yoga do you do?
Hot.
So, do you do Bikram?
He got cancelled, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but I still do it.
He was a toucher. He probably wants my socks as well.
I was just about to say that. He definitely wants your sweaty socks after Bikram.
I've only done 3 in my whole life. So I did one in LA called, it was like a fitness, it was hard. It was like a fitness class in a hot yoga studio. It was 45 degrees C and you're like lifting weights. It's fucking gross.
That's mental.
And then I did one in Bristol with my girlfriend and that was cool, but it wasn't that hot.
It's actually wild. Like even before you start working out, you start the actual session, you're already sweating.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You feel fucking amazing.
It's so good after. That cold shower after.
Oh my God, it's the best.
And then I did one in LA again the other day. And it was good. It just wasn't as hot. I want it, like, I work out quite a bit. And I want it to hurt.
Yeah.
I want to be in pain. Like, I want to feel like I've worked out.
I'm like that.
And that one I didn't.
You know, like when you do a workout and then the next day you don't ache anywhere and you're like, what a fucking waste of time.
What did I do? Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
It's the worst.
I know.
Do you train as well? Or is it yoga?
I do Bikram 3 times a week and I do hot Pilates once a week. And then I will work out and do like a little hit train here in the house. But Disco's been like traveling the last few days, so I've been like really anxious about him getting here. So I've just been in the house for like the last few days. Like a sad dog mum that I am. And and I have some weights here and I've just been doing it. I feel like, see, this is one of these age things I was saying. Like my arms are just like flabby now.
That's just, you just got to train harder.
So I'm
That's not an age thing. It's a lack of training thing.
Sorry to tell you.
I love that. I injured my bicep like 5 months ago, and I haven't been able to like, I'm like doing physio and stuff on it at this moment. I haven't been able to like train like upper body.
Do you feel like you're getting a flabby arm?
I don't feel like I've got a flabby arm. I feel like I'm a 12-year-old with no muscles though. Like I just feel weak and just like skinny fat.
Can't you just train? Well, you can't train the other arm.
No, because then I'd be like Popeye on one arm and not good. Yeah, but I can't wait to get back to it.
I love training and I love running a lot as well.
Yeah, I run a lot as well.
I did a few half marathons.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm more of a trail runner.
Okay.
Or like short distance, like 5K.
Like really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a run the other day. It was like 4K in like 16 and a half minutes.
4K and that's really quick.
I'm like,
that's really quick.
Like smashing.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
That's good. But the thing is now living here, like we're right in the middle of Shoreditch and it's like stop, start. So it's just
unless
boring.
you run really early in the morning.
Unless you run really early or I go to like a big park somewhere. But I like to like leave my house and run. Like have to go somewhere. It's like...
I don't like treadmills as well.
I hate treadmills.
Yeah, they're so boring.
And bikes.
I do step machine a lot at the gym. That's like the cardio at the gym for me.
Do you find it hard to keep fit on the road with traveling so much, or you kind of
since doing the bicep, yes, because I would have like quite a strict routine of I'd get to the hotel, train, or I'd go get to the hotel, like go out for dinner, train before the show, and then like do that each time. But because I just haven't been, I've been like slacking a little bit. I will get back on it, but yeah. It's hard. The hardest thing is the diet.
Wow. I feel like I just trained just so I could eat.
Yeah, totally. But
I love eating.
But it's also like, I think the older I get, the more aware of what I eat and what I'm putting in the body. I think it's just more education. Like at school, we weren't taught anything like that, really. No. Like we weren't taught about nutrition to a certain extent. And like, I'm really into it, but the goal is to eventually have somebody travel. Like I love cooking, but like I'd love to have a trainer travel with me and like fully go in on it, and like make sure that
you eat well.
Train.
Do you know any DJs that do that have like a touring fitness person?
No.
Nor do I.
That's serious fuck you money.
Yeah, that is. But probably like more. Sorry, tour managers. Is that like more valuable than having a tour manager?
Depends how big you are, right? Like, I guess there comes a level where you're so big you need a tour manager.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I don't know. Let's say, for instance, your Fish. Like, he needs a tour manager.
Yeah.
But I think he actually does quite a lot of fitness stuff with people like on the road. I'd love to. It's so important. I think people forget that like it's your health is the only thing you have.
Yeah, I know.
And it's become more and more, people have become more and more aware in the industry. But like it's such an unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah. Lack of sleep, different time zones, eating out, aeroplane food, no sleep again. And then when you get home, it's like studio. So it's a really awful lifestyle. It's the best lifestyle. I fucking love it. And that's not me complaining about the job, but it's awful for you. Yeah. And like mentally, because it's your away weekends, like everything that you have in your personal life gets missed. And like building relationships is really hard. Like all of that is like you actually have to work to keep relationships. And that's not just like partners, like with your friends and with your family and all of that. It's like, it's really hard to like keep that in mind. I have to text this friend, or I have to text it, or I have to call this friend, I have to do this, whilst being in another country, whilst worrying about everything else. It's a weird industry.
It is really weird, but I think you nailed it on the head there, where it's like there are so many highs of working in this industry, but there are so many like.
Well, you're on your own.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that, but it's like I've had the thought more as like, what am I doing this for? Like, what's the like why?
Yeah.
Like the amount of work you put into it for the amount of return. Not that you do it for return. And I'm very fortunate. I have a great life and all of that. But it's like I was told by somebody the other day. I can't remember. It wasn't the other day. It was probably like 6 months ago. But they were in a conversation with like a business consultant. This business consultant was like an Olympic level swimmer, and my friend was talking to them and was like explaining the music industry to them, because I think he'd just seen this guy like do a business talk to like a bunch of like CEOs, and my mate was like telling this consultant like the music industry, and this guy would turn around and was like, "That's not business, that's gambling." And he's like, you're relying on something doing well your whole life, and you might not ever get there. Like in business, you do this, and this is the outcome, right? And like the outcome might not always be as successful as you want it to be, but there's generally always an outcome. Whereas this is like, you spend 5 years in the studio, you try and write something that does well, you sign something, it might not do well, it might do well, or you try something again, it might do well, it might not. And you're purely waiting on luck. And like, yeah, you make your own luck and you got to work hard for that. But this whole industry is one gamble. Like I know people that are way more like talented than me, way more like, maybe not as passionate about it as me, but like better producers, write better music than me, that are still in their bedroom trying to work it out. And it's just pure gambling. And I think that's the thing that takes the toll the most, is like the stress of like the gamble of like, oh, we're releasing another record. Like releasing records for me is like not fun anymore.
It's not fun.
No.
Is it stressful?
Or
why? What is it that's not?
I think it's my expectations are so high.
Right, okay.
It's all my own fault, because I've had some successful records. But the minute you have, let's say for instance, okay, like you have a record and it does 1,000 streams, and then you want, I want the next record to do 5,000 streams. Oh, it does 5,000 streams. Oh, I want the next record to do 10,000 streams. Oh, it does 10,000 streams. Then your next record does 2,000 streams. You're like,
oh, fuck.
Who am I? And there's no correlation of like how a record's going to do. My biggest streaming record, which doesn't mean it's my biggest record, but my biggest streaming record, stopped streaming at 250,000 streams. 2 months later, got put on a massive playlist at number 1. Now it's done 17 million. Like, but there's no way of like knowing that. There's nothing I did that put it on that playlist, if that makes sense. Whereas what I'm talking about in business is like, okay, you have a product, you sell this to this company, or you sell this to that person, and then out of that you get this. There's none of that in this industry.
It's such an interesting way to look at it, and I've never thought of that before, but it's so true.
But it's also, it's like social media, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're aware, this with your partner and everything like that, it's like, you could put a video out, and I could put exactly the same video out, and mine gets 10 million views, yours gets 100,000.
This just happened to me.
Did it?
With Hiroko.
Yeah,
who's
great.
also been on your podcast. Yeah. I did this thing with her at SXM Festival, which was like random quick fire questions, and I asked her if you had to eat the same breakfast for the rest of your life, what would it be? And she goes, Diet Coke and cigarettes.
She's the best.
Diet Coke and cigarettes. I posted it, probably had like 10, 12,000 views.
Yeah.
She's posted it and it's had 9.9 million.
Wow.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Happens.
That's the thing. And it's like, it's just gambling.
It is. It is just all a gamble.
It's gambling. But we love it so much that we're willing to gamble.
100%.
Just a bunch of gambling addicts.
We are just a bunch of
I actually fucking hate... I've never gambled in my life.
I gambled once and it didn't go down very well. So I've never gambled again.
How much did you lose?
I lost to somebody else.
How much?
$2,000.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
well.
they said to me, you can choose
So it's their
red
fault.
or black. And I went black. It was red. Of course I went fucking black. Of course you did. But, yeah, it is. It's a gamble. But I would much prefer to live like we do have so much fun and it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's like the opportunities that you get. I'd much prefer to have that and gamble than just be doing a job that I really don't like to do. Yeah.
Like, how much time do we spend working? Like, even if you're 9 to 5, like, you're spending 3/4 of your life working.
Yeah, exactly.
For what?
Yeah, exactly.
To buy a nice watch, to pay your rent in London? Like, what? Life's too short.
Totally agree. I would sit here and chat to you for hours, to be honest.
I'm happy to.
This has been lovely. This has been wonderful. What time is it?
20 past 5?
20 past 5. I have Stephen Brains coming round in a bit.
No way.
Yes.
I love Steve.
He's going to house sit for me whilst I'm away.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So he wants to meet Disco.
Where are you going?
I'm doing a live broadcast for Amazon Music at Primavera Sound.
Where's that?
In Barcelona.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing that for 3 days, and then I'm working with Drum Code on Yacht Week.
Oh, cool.
Doing
that looks
content.
bougie as fuck.
Oh my god, I know, but I can't wait.
That looks so bougie. You can speak Spanish though, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
But this is in Croatia. Yacht Week is in Croatia, and then the other things in Barcelona. Yeah.
I wish I could speak Spanish.
Can you speak any other languages?
Nah. I'm so English. It's so bad.
When you spend a lot of time in America, do you get a bit of an American...
I think I did when I first moved there, and my parents just gave me so much shit.
Do they?
Yeah, so it's definitely come out.
Do you say laundry or washing?
Washing. You do have to change your words when you're out there though.
So people understand.
So people understand. Like, I can be like, mate, can you put this in a bin? And they're like, what? And I was like, can you put this in a bin? And they're like, I literally don't know what you're saying. I was like, can you put it in the trash? And they're like, oh.
But do you know why I think this is really weird? Like, that happens over there, but why, like, how do we know that it's trash? Why don't they know it's bin?
YouTube, films.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, if you think our whole culture growing up was American TV. Friends.
Yeah. Oh, my face.
Seinfeld. Like, American Pie. Like, every big film was American.
Yeah, there's no big English films.
Not really. That was big in America.
Yeah. That's a true point, to be fair.
And they do love the English accent.
Yeah, they do.
Like, it's definitely... being a Brit in America is definitely a benefit.
I was in Toronto a couple of years ago, and I was ordering some food, and I said, can I have a bottle of water, please? And she was like, sorry, what? And I was like, a bottle of water? She was like, what? I was like, water. What? And I was like, water. And she was like, oh, okay.
It's so true. When I was in, like my first ever tour in America, I put together myself. It was like, I was like 20, which obviously you can't party when you're 20 over there. It's illegal. So you have to get a fake ID. But one of my mates was studying he was English, but studied in UNC, which is University of North Carolina. Mm. I went and saw him, and we went to South Carolina, which is like very country, like very south.
Yeah.
Not necessarily country, but south. So like, we're like foreigners back then as well. This was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So like, no one really saw English. English people didn't really go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to the sandwich shop, and my mate's called Harry, very like British name, and it was like a mum and pop's like Subway kind of. Yeah. So like you'd go in, order your food, and then they'd ask your name, and he was like, "My name's Harry," and she was like, "What?" And he was like, "Harry," and she was like, "I don't understand what you're saying." And he was like, "My name is Harry." And she was like, "How do you spell that?" And he was like, Harry. And he was like, "Oh, Harry." I'm like, fuck's sake. Like, it's so bad. I've had people call me, like, when like, I had it at my first festival in America was Tomorrow World. Tomorrow World? Yeah, it's like the Tomorrowland of America at the time in Atlanta. And I went into the, like, artists. It was like, I'd never done a festival before. I didn't have a fucking clue what we did. So it was like, I was just, like, being escorted around. And I went to go get the credentials. She was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Will Clarke." And she was like, "Say that again?" I was like, "Will Clarke." And she was like, "World Cup?" I'm like, how? How did you get from Will Clarke to World Cup? I'm like, absolutely not, ma'am.
That's
so good.
Funny.
Yeah.
World Cup.
How? I get it all the time.
What, World Cup?
No, I've had it a couple times. Will Clock, I guess.
It's really not hard.
It's really not. But they say Clarke differently over there.
Clarke?
Yeah. I can't do the American accent.
Clarke. Mine's Katie.
Yeah.
You never get a Katie?
No. They missed the T. But we don't say the T. We say Katie.
Yeah, that's true. Katie. Unless you're my mum, who would say Katie.
I like the T. I like proper English.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Like private school girl English is like so attractive.
And if she's AI model.
I'm probably subscribed. Paying some Russian dude. Full circles.
I love a British accent.
Yeah, it's so good. It's the one thing that when I'm leaving a country and like come home and like if I'm flying like BA or something, the first thing you see is like, "Hello, sir." Yes. And like it's so I'm home. Yeah. So home.
What other UK accents do you really like?
That's my number one, like private school, proper English. Geordie.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And Mank.
I do like
only on girls though. Mank.
Yeah.
Geordie I like on everyone.
I love a Geordie accent.
I can't stand Scouse.
I like a Scouse accent.
Yeah.
And I love an Irish accent.
Of course. Like whoever says that they don't like an Irish accent is an absolute psycho.
Yeah.
But I like Welsh accents. Like I like the Valley Welsh accent where it's like, yeah, it's kind of cute.
My mum's from Leeds.
Oh, that's a good. I like Northerners.
I like
love
Northerners.
Northern accent is fucking great.
My mum's from Leeds and my dad is from Ruislip, which is West London. So two very different.
Is he like geezer?
He's
like
proper geezer.
Yeah. I love geezers.
Yeah, he's like proper geezer. So their accents are very, very different. But my mum's definitely, since she's been with my dad, lost it. But as soon as she goes back home, it just comes back automatically.
Yeah. Yours is pretty like posh London.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I have an accent.
It's like very British. You don't like sound like you're from London.
I think also with work. Well, no, that's a lie, really. I was going to say like I have to speak properly, but everyone has their.
But I guess did you speak Spanish for the whole time you were like grew up?
I moved to Spain when I was 12.
Yeah.
And my parents put me straight into Spanish school.
So you weren't really speaking English apart from when you were at home. Yeah.
Well, I did have some English friends at school, but yeah, I was probably speaking more Spanish.
Do you dream in Spanish?
It's a good question. I think if I've been around Spanish people, then I will. But it's also sometimes a real mind fuck when you dream about somebody that's English, but they're talking in Spanish.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's so weird. A few of my mates, their like native language isn't English, but they like have lived in English speaking countries similar to where you were at in Spain, and they were like, the minute I lost my identity from being being French or being Italian was when I started dreaming in English.
Yeah. How weird is the brain?
Yeah.
I just think dreaming is just a whole random...
What do you think it is? Do you think it's like...
It's your subconscious?
Is it stuff you wish happened?
I think dreaming is a mixture of things that you wish would happen with things that have happened. I think.
How good are those dreams when they're so good and then you wake up and then you can go back to sleep and you're in them?
Oh my God. I love that.
They're the best.
I also hate it though when you dream about something and you remember as soon as you wake up and then like 5 seconds later it's gone.
Yeah.
Like why hasn't my brain kept hold of that?
Why can't you remember those dreams? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you dream a lot?
Yeah. Dream a lot. I don't sleep well. So but yeah, I dream a lot.
I've started taking lion's mane.
Does that help?
I think yes.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't, but subconsciously it does, it helps.
It helps.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, besides dreams and stuff, brain fog, 0.
Really?
So much more energy. I'm so much more productive.
Do you think moving from Ibiza has done that as well?
Yeah, massively. My head was just felt so it was just like a cloud in my brain.
Why?
I don't know. I think because I wasn't 100% happy there at that time, and I knew that I wanted to leave, but I felt like I couldn't because all of my work, as I said before, had always been on the island.
Well, your identity was there, wasn't it, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a horrible way,
Yeah,
but it's if that's all you know.
That's all I've done.
Yeah.
So I think I was always really scared to make the move and come to London or move to another city. So I think part of that mental or that brain fog was me not having a clear mind of where I wanted to be in my life.
That makes sense.
You know,
I get that.
But yeah, no, it's definitely the best thing I've ever decided to do.
Sweet. Should we wrap?
End with some quick questions.
Cool, go for it.
Okay. Last track that you searched for on Spotify.
I think it was a Marlena Shaw record.
Okay.
I think.
The last amazing meal that you had.
I actually just ate some bao noodles. Well, beef cheek noodles. They were fucking great.
Nice. What was your last online purchase?
Some resistant bands.
Nice. For your saggy arm.
My bicep. For your saggy arm.
Something that's always in your fridge.
Dr. Pepper Zero, or this new drink called New Tonic that I really like. It's kind of like an energy drink, but got nootropics in for your brain. So it's cool. It tastes pretty good as well.
Do you prefer Dr. Pepper over Coca-Cola?
No. Different moods. Different horses for different courses, as they say.
Well done. Who was the last person that you spoke to on the phone?
Ooh. That was...
Toe Man.
Toe Juice Man. Who was the last person then? Probably my manager. That's a really boring answer.
Well, it's your manager. A word that you use a lot.
Bollocks.
I don't think you've said that in this conversation.
I actually haven't, no. I swear quite a lot. And my mum, I learned all my swear words from my mum.
Your mum sounds really cool, by the way.
And yeah, they're cool. I've got good parents. But she listens to the podcast and she always tells me off for swearing. I'm like, Mum, I learned from you. You swore my whole childhood. It's your fault.
The last gift that you gave.
I got my girlfriend flowers last week. No, 2 weeks ago.
Very nice.
Yeah.
The last gift that you received.
I don't know. I don't like receiving gifts.
Interesting.
I really struggle with receiving gifts. Don't know why. I was talking about this the other day, actually.
that happens to people, and I think it's really interesting.
My thing is like, when somebody gives me something, and this is like, I know this is wrong, but when somebody gives me something, I feel like I have to give them something back. And so I find it really awkward receiving.
Okay, I get that. And this podcast is called Can You Put Me on Guest List?
Okay.
So I ask everyone, do you have a guest list rule?
At least follow me before you ask. I get that so often. I'm sure everyone does. It's like, you see somebody, like the funniest one is like when you see somebody follow you, and I don't really check who follows me or who unfollows me, but like occasionally you're like, oh, let's go into notifications, and you're like, someone followed you, and then you'll see a DM from them literally like 2 minutes later going, can you get me guest list for this weekend? I'm like,
oh, how long have we been friends for?
You're my best mate.
Yeah.
I get it. What about you? What's your rule?
Oh, I think mine is more like when you send your names over, like just send it in a private, like not in a private, but like a separate message, and doesn't have like any lines on it, and it's just all in one. Like I could just copy and paste it.
I agree that's actually a really good shout, because I do tell people don't send me anything else, just send me the names.
Yeah.
And you know what really annoys me is when they don't do capital letters with their names.
Oh,
like what psychos do that?
I don't know, but there are people that do that.
Like there's a setting on your phone that you have to turn off. Like people go on their phone and turn off this setting that says no capital letters.
That is so true. The only reason that they would write that without capital letters is one, if they've turned that, or two, if they're writing from the laptop. But if you see it, like who writes like that?
Who writes in English like names without capital letters?
I don't know. Psychos.
Fucking yeah, that's
not our friends.
No, clearly not.
Definitely not ours.
Every weekend.
Right, I'm playing Pass the Question, like the one that I did in Miami.
Okay.
But you're the first person, so I'm going to give you the first question.
Okay.
Okay. Yours is, what would be your deathbed meal?
Ooh.
Starter, main course, and dessert.
It will probably be some Indian dish.
Right.
Like, just like an Indian banquet. Like, with starters like the poppadoms, samosas, and then like I'd like some Indian man to just cook me a load of Indian food with a side of socks. And then dessert, probably be chocolate chip cookie. I'm a sucker for chocolate chip cookies.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know Ben's cookies?
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Eye roll for anybody listening there.
I was very
They're okay. Like, they're good, but there's some better cookies out there.
What's the number one cookie in the UK?
Oh, in the UK, I don't know.
In US?
Oh my God, Levan. Levan cookie.
Levan cookie.
Levain. Levan.
Mm-hmm.
It's from New York.
Is it amazing?
It's fucking silly. Like,
is it? Did you post a picture about this not long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw this.
I took my mum and dad there in DC. Like, the cookie's so, like, Moorish that it takes me 3 days to eat a cookie. I'm not just going to, like, nail it. I'm like one of those people that, like, buys a chocolate bar and doesn't eat all of it.
So you would buy, like, a Kit Kat and you'll just eat one of the fingers and put the other one in the fridge?
Yeah. I'm weird.
I think
sometimes
you're one of them psycho people.
Sometimes I chuck it all in, but, like, yeah, like, a lot of the time I won't eat all of it. Like, I'll have, like, some, like, chocolate something in my fridge and it will stay there for months. Although I love chocolate, but I, like, almost, like, torture myself and be like, no, hold off. It's a treat.
Do you know, it's so weird that we're actually talking about this, because I swear to God, for the first time in my life, I put one Twix finger in the fridge last night.
Were you like these flabby arms?
I looked at my arms, I was like, Katie, put that and the Twix
Put
away.
the Twix down.
So I literally can't believe we actually just said that.
What would your deathbed meal be?
I think mine would be, I love Thai food.
Yeah.
I really like tom kha soup.
That's good.
That is like one of my faves. So maybe I would do something like that as a starter. And then as a main, I also really like pizza.
Oh, I'll show you some pizzas I cook.
Ooh.
I did a pizza banquet last weekend.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, did like 8 pizzas in the oven.
Pizza party.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I
can eat pizza every day.
I did it 2 days in a row and I was like, yeah, I gotta stop. I felt gross.
And I really like cold pizza in the morning.
You're a psycho. I can't
this podcast is done.
I can't get into this like whole cold pizza. I wish I could, because it's like there's something nice about. Here we go.
If you're hungover, I can't bother to make.
Like, look at this. Like, this is how it started.
Oh my
God! Right. And then this is the pizza party.
Oh my God, they look banging. That looks so good.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to make the dough?
Day before. Day before. And then I did some the day after, so it was like 48 hours.
Just
sourdough.
A funny story about dough.
Yeah.
So I once interviewed Dubfire.
He's great.
Who I love him.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, it was during the pandemic actually, so we were talking about, what have you been up to? And he was like, I'm really into my sourdough. And I love it. He said, and I've actually like all the sourdough that I've made, I've actually named them all now. So they all have their individual names.
I have that exact same thing as well.
Why? You named it. So what were your pizzas called?
Well, do you want to know my sourdough starter name? I've got 2. One's in Detroit, which I think is dead because one of my friends is supposed to be looking after it. Sandra is my one in England. Sandra and Cheryl.
Sandra and Cheryl, your sourdough.
Yeah. You look after them, feed them every week. You clearly haven't got into sourdough, though,
I obviously am missing out on something.
When you get into sourdough, you will be like, oh my God, I've got to call it something. Because it's alive.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like a pet. You got to feed it.
I'm trying to think what name Ali said now. I can't remember. I think it was like Fred or something.
Yeah, probably. Do you want to see some sourdough?
Yeah.
Here we go. So, like, during COVID, I would bake, like, every Sunday for, like, all my friends and family. Bread.
Yeah, you can put it in your iPhone. Bread.
I used to do croissants as well.
Really?
Yeah, I went in during COVID.
I love watching videos of people making croissants.
So this is like a Sunday bake.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I went in.
That looks amazing.
Like.
See, you know what I asked you before, what would you be doing? If
Baker.
That's what it would be.
But I'm trying to find the croissant. Croissants. Oh, this is some more. Yeah, like, look at them.
That's so good.
I love cooking.
Very impressed.
I do love cooking. But you mentioned it at the beginning.
Yeah. I love cooking as well. I just feel what's
your best dish?
I do make a really good green Thai curry.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you do the paste and everything?
I have done. I'm not going to say that I always do it.
Yeah.
But I have done it in the past. I actually did a cooking course.
Oh, did you?
In Bangkok.
Oh, wow.
And it was called Kata's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I absolutely loved it.
I've never been to Southeast Asia.
Really?
Yeah, I really want to go.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
I really want to go.
You would love the food over there.
Yeah. I like spicy shit as well.
Do you know what is one of my favourite... Sorry, I feel like we're just jumping over conversations here. My favourite ever TV show to watch, Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, really? Yeah, Parts Unknown.
I just love it.
Rest in peace.
I know.
Like,
what a shame.
Chef's Table is my favourite.
I haven't watched a lot of Chef's Table, actually.
You're missing out.
I know, I have been told.
Chef's Table is fucking unbelievable. It's like so good. Oh, here's some cookies I made.
Let's see your cookies. Oh my God. Are these all on your Instagram page?
Yeah. This is my pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat. Wow, that looks so good. What chocolate is that inside though?
Dark chocolate.
But what brand?
you buy like battens, so they're not like. I think it was Hotel Chocolat battens.
Ooh.
There's some croissants.
God.
And I've got a really. Oh, here you go. This is the inside. Here we go. Look at that.
That is the inside of your croissant.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. I'm so chuffed.
You're very talented.
No, I'm just an absolute psycho. It takes ages. For like 30.
It take a long time for them to come out like that.
For like 30 seconds of mouth pleasure, it's long.
Is it not? Is it just easier to go down to the bakery down the road?
If you got a good bakery.
Then go.
I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, so there's no bakeries.
Yeah.
The actual local bakery just like shut down.
I have saved on Instagram this folder of just places that I want to eat in London.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there are some insane places.
Have you been to Fallow?
No.
I really want to go there.
Fallow.
Do you like Indian food?
I love Indian food. I had Indian last night.
Where did you go? Dishoom?
It was just... I didn't, actually.
Okay.
I do love Dishoom.
Have you been to Gunpowder?
No.
Best Indian in England.
Gunpowder?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Hands down.
Okay.
And then Cinnamon Club?
No.
Cinnamon Club is...
I've only just got here. I need to get around.
Cinnamon Club's, I think, the first Michelin star Indian restaurant in the UK. Definitely in London at the time. It's in the Westminster Library, old library. So you go in and it's just like books everywhere. It's a fucking beautiful place.
Oh, wow.
And like you can do the taster menu or you can just like do a la carte, but it's beautiful. It's really good. Good like date night.
I need like a list of places.
I think I've got a list.
You have to share it.
Right.
You need to give me a question for the other person, by the way. I
Okay.
forgot about that.
When was the last time you cried and what was it about?
When was the last time you cried?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. Let me write this down because otherwise I forget.
Who is the next one?
Don't know, yeah. I actually... it's Meg Ward.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. When was the last time you cried? Who I've never met before.
She's really nice.
Is she?
Yeah, I had her on the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of same people on the podcast.
Probably.
Do you think there's people that just like being on podcasts and kind of do like...
Yeah, I
Or do you think it's more the people that you just kind of gravitate towards?
I think also it's like hard to get people on podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a type of person.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe it's...
Have you had Daly on yours? Have you had Since 82 on yours?
No, I haven't.
I really want to get him on.
I've interviewed him a few times, but not on...
Do you prefer doing podcasts or interviews? Have we stopped recording?
No, we're still
recording. I'm like, why are we holding the mic if we're not recording?
I think I prefer probably podcast, which is more relaxed.
I used to enjoy doing interviews, but since having the podcast, I dislike doing interviews now. Because I'm like, these questions are so surface level.
Yeah.
And like, and that's no disrespect to interviewers. I know you do that and you do a great job of that. But like,
It's true.
I find the questions so dull.
I also now, like, I've got to a stage where I never ask, well, in any of my interviews, I always kind of try and make them, like,
unique
conversation format anyway. I hate question, answer. I hate it.
Yeah.
So, and I very, very rarely, unless it's like a brand or a club or a festival that I'm working with that specifically said, can you ask these questions? I will make, like, really, really random questions.
I think it's important.
Because that's where you get the fun stuff.
Or like, do your research.
Yeah.
Like, what have you got coming up? And I'm like, fuck off.
No, that, or what's your setup in your studio like?
Or like, what's the craziest tour story?
Like nobody, like...
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
I went to a hotel, then to an airport, then to a club.
And then hotel again. Yeah, no, I really try and like... Sorry, you can hear a lot of sounds in this house, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. You're in London.
Yeah, just make them like as unique as possible.
Yeah. Cool.
I have one last thing.
Okay.
I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
Another game. Right. So basically, you're going to be given a really random letter.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like X, Y, or Z or something, then I'll change it. So this is the random letter generator.
Yeah.
And you have 60 seconds to say as many DJ names as possible with this one letter.
Oh, okay.
I reckon you're going to be pretty good at this.
Really?
Okay? So Generating random letter. Okay, this is a good one. Right.
Is it D? Because then I'm on.
What the fuck?
Is it D?
Yes.
Or I could just name everyone and just put DJ in the front of it.
No.
Literally.
Right. Well, here you go. I mean, if that's actually their name. Well,
is it their actual name?
But no, you can still say, if that's their artistic name, they actually put DJ in front of it. Because not everyone does.
All right.
Right, ready?
Yeah.
Your time starts now.
DJ Boring, DJ Silentfeld, Dennis Ferreira, Dennis Cruz, Dave Clarke, DVS1, DJ Will Clarke. It's actually pretty hard.
You got 20 seconds.
Can you think of any?
I can think of loads.
Can you?
Oh no, that's B.
Yeah. D. Duke Dumont.
Duke Dumont. Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse, yeah. This could be a team effort. Because it's fucking hard.
4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Right, you did pretty well.
Danny Howard.
Oh! Go on, I'll let you have Danny.
Sorry, Danny.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10? That's really good.
Is it really, though?
Normally people get like 4.
Who else?
DJ...
Oh, there's a...
Darius Syrossian.
Darius Syrossian. I don't know, it's hard.
Demi Ricchisimo.
I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Geronimo.
You'll be in the shower later, like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm just going to text you. You're like,
yeah. Will, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It
was really good. Yeah, it's good.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. And yes, it's been lovely. I'm glad that Disco.
Is Disco a DJ?
No, but his surname is Knight, so it should be
Disco Knight.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.